Hey Ellis Fam Lifers, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Ellis Fam Life, #Autistic Twins, and today is an Inner Circle video. And Inner Circle is a Monday video that we started a couple of months ago where we just talk about wishes, hopes, goals, dreams, fears, anxiety, all of the emotions around raising and or taking care of an autistic loved one, which for us is nonverbal autistic twins Alex and Will. And today's topic it's a kind of a vulnerable topic and can be a little bit uncomfortable to talk about, but I think today is just a good day to bring this up, and it is the relationship that you have with your significant other, your spouse, your partner, as you are raising this child and or dealing with day-to-day things regarding this special needs child. Say, for example, you as the parent are co-parenting with this other adult to raise this child to the best of your ability, to the best of your knowledge, energy, and all the things that it takes to raise that child. Most of you are with someone else. You're raising a child together, like a mom and a dad or a partner or significant other or whatever. And because human beings aren't perfect, no relationship is perfect. It's already complicated. If you have children that you're raising with someone else, it's complicated. And then when you add the factor of nonverbal autism, developmental delay, any kind of special needs, it just exponentially complicates relationships, including those of the mom and the dad to each other. All of a sudden it becomes harder to connect with each other, to understand each other, to both be on the same page while you're parenting this or raising this child. Coming from a personal standpoint, my husband and I we've not always agreed on how to take care of the children. And I am fortunate in that when we had the twins, when I gave birth to the twins and we started, we raised them, they grew, and both kind of realized at the same time that something was wrong, that something wasn't right. They weren't developing correctly, they weren't reaching milestones, they weren't trying to talk. And we were both pretty much on the same page as far as like, okay, we need to ask for help, we need to let the pediatrician know, and we would kind of look at each other and go, does that seem right to you? And then we would confirm each other's kind of bad feelings. So as far as both of us being on the same page with the twins' developmental needs, that was completely fine. Whereas in other situations, like not our situation, but in people that I've talked to, sometimes there's a tension when both of you are raising this child and one parent gets it, like maybe one parent is with the child more minutes of the day than the other parent, and the first parent says, something is wrong, our child is not developing properly, they're not reaching milestones, and the other parent says, I don't know what you're talking about, just imagining things. Oh, it's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. And there can be a lot of tension between two parents of one parent sees the problem and the other parent doesn't, so that the other parent may have some denial going on or just unaware of how bad the situation is or how much the child really is lacking. That can cause a lot of tension, and it's not specifically what we've gone through, but I know a lot of parents go through that, and it takes that one parent longer to kind of come to those same conclusions that the first parent has come to. And then other complications can be it's really hard to make time for each other because everything is focused on trying to take care of that special needs child, or for us, children. And so our whole family unit revolves around these two children, even though they really shouldn't be the center of the universe. They kind of are, because they have to be. They don't know that they are, but it's just that they require so much that we pour all of our energy into taking care of them to the detriment of other relationships. So we have a harder time making time for each other, and there's this kind of despair knowing that these twins are going to need us forever. There won't be any empty nest syndrome for us. There could be, 18 years from now, the boys may be talking and they may be functioning on a more normal level. They may be able to have jobs and all that. I absolutely hold hope that they'll do that. But realistically, they're probably not going to. And so there will never be an empty nest for us. And so that's another issue that we have to deal with, is how do we find time for each other? How do we find time for ourselves, like individually? How do we find recharge time? So lots of tension-filled things when you are raising a child with someone else, and this child happens to be special needs. And for us, it's nonverbal autism. So there can be a tension when one parent is in denial and the other one is trying to convince the one parent of, we need to find help for this child, we need to start looking into other options, and then finding time for each other so that you can focus on your relationship, the most important relationship, which is to each other. And then you have to figure out that dynamic between your special needs child and the dynamic between your other children. And then sometimes you might have two completely different parenting styles. You and your significant other may be completely not on the same page. Maybe your spouse is in denial and wants to be harsher on that child, and in your heart you know that it's really developmental, and you kind of butt heads on how are you going to discipline this child and provide structure and still be a loving parent and provide boundaries, but at the same time try to understand that child is having developmental issues, and it may not be all temper tantrum or just pitching a fit or just wanting their own way, but maybe they're having developmental issues, and their behavioral issues stem from their special need, like autism, being on the spectrum. So there's so much tension that comes with having a special needs child that you have to wade through. That's way worse than just having neurotypical children. And granted, neurotypical children are still hard to deal with sometimes. So it just seems like we're kind of over in our own boat when we have a special needs child dealing with all of those. Do I need to discipline that child? Is that a spectrum tantrum, or is that like, I didn't get my way and I'm just pitching a fit tantrum? And those things are hard to figure out. And you might err on the side of more grace and compassion, and your partner may be like, nope, they need a spanking, or nope, they need time out, or whatever. And it's hard to come to an agreement with your spouse on how do we discipline our child, and how do we control our child, and how do we find a balance while we're raising this child together, and how do we find a balance between this child and our other children, and then how do we have time for each other? And so those are all really big issues that come from being married, having a partner, significant other, and raising a child together. Even a neurotypical child, much less a special needs child. So in the comments below, just tell me what you think. I know y'all have all gone through this before, and if you feel comfortable, some people don't want to share personal information such as this on a public forum. So if you don't feel comfortable, you absolutely don't feel like you have to share. But if you feel comfortable and you want to tell your story and how maybe some things that you've done to help build a good relationship between you and your spouse, and or you and your children and your special needs child, all of those dynamics, what have you done that's positive, that's helped that dynamic? Just leave me some comments and tell me a little nutshell of how it's worked for you, because I'm curious. And what are some ways it's worked for us? We just have to be very extra careful about spending time with each other and utilizing my older boys to help with the little boys, and we just have to find things that we can do together as a family. And sometimes it's just getting in the pool at home, and we're very thankful to have that pool because that provides a way for us to all hang out together, but we're safe in our own environment and we can let the little boys just play. So little things like that. And we have to be really careful after the boys go to bed. We got to make time for each other, talk, catch up, spend time together so that we're still growing as a couple, not just the mom and dad of Alex and Will, Frankie and Steven. So, those are some of the things that we do. So you tell me in the comments what you do. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something from it or it made you think, be sure to click that thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of Ella's Fam Life #Autistic Twins, then subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications for when I release videos, which is generally Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. If you know of someone who needs to know our story or who needs to connect with us in the inner circle, they're going through some of the same things that I've talked about in this video or prior videos, then share this video and share our channel, get our message out there, and introduce us to people who might need to come be a part of the inner circle. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. And thank you all for watching, and as always, I look forward to next time.